Story title: I think I died in early July. Author name: Nestle13. Do you guys know the whole theory about how when people die in one timeline, they shift into another? I think that may have happened to me. Back in early July of this year, my family, father 54, mother 45, me 19, brother 16, and sister 13, were going on a road trip to Montana to visit our grandparents. Prior to the trip, I had a horrible feeling about going. I kept having flashes of car accidents in my head, and I was sure that we would get into one if we left. It was so strange, because I have a pretty severe anxiety disorder, but this didn't feel like my anxiety at all, and I never have anxiety about road trips. I love them. So we left Saturday of that week. I had told my parents I had a bad feeling about driving up there, but they dismissed it as me being anxious, but I had never felt so certain about anything in my life before. Getting into that car felt like signing my death sentence. So we get about 6 hours in, and at this point, I start to think I was being ridiculous, and a wave of calmness just washes over me. This is where the proverbial waste matter hits the fan. My dad passes an underpass, and everything just shifts. I feel like I saw everything in slow motion for a whole 4 minutes or so. My parents were joking beforehand, but their faces moved so slowly. And then the light in the car started to shift. This was the scary part, because I thought I must have been going insane. For a few seconds, there was a huge illumination of light into our car, and I looked at my family and couldn't tell who they were or what they meant to me. And then, it's like everything just came back. The light shifted back, and I knew who everyone was, but it felt like something imperceptible had changed. I closed my eyes and tried to make sense of the past few minutes. And when I reached back to remember, I saw blood, our car, and another minivan in shambles on the side of the highway right beyond the underpass, and mangled bodies. I remember sensations I shouldn't have known. What spattered brain matter looks like, the smell of something burning, the way I couldn't breathe. But this never happened. Yet I remember that the car in front of us had switched lanes, even though there was a truck right in front of us, realized it at the last second, and hit us with a lateral impact. I have no history of psychosis, and I have never been in any sort of car accident. This was not post-traumatic stress disorder, and I have never had anxiety over being in the car in any sort of way prior to this. And maybe I could have just brushed it off, but I still think about it when I'm driving my own car, and it's made me a more cautious driver. I don't know what happened, it's just a weird situation, and I remember having the distinct feeling in that moment that I had died in some sense. I am not a spiritually sensitive person by any means. I'm a scientist at heart, but this truly was something I just cannot explain. And I fully accept that I might be reading too much into this, and for some reason I imagined an event that never happened, but I thought I would share it anyway. Personal thoughts. This makes me think of my own mother, actually. She'd have visions of the future in her dreams quite often, many of which would come to pass. It gave her great anxiety to have that kind of information, a fear of dreaming also. In your case, it's almost more real time. There was another story I've read from here recently that was along these lines of foresight ability in the heat of the event, because your reality resets back. Although the description of the light effect is new. Perhaps that particular detail is common, but most don't remember it. Of course, you could be correct too. Maybe this is just a crossover event to an alternate reality. It's possible. Maybe that's what the light effect was. Have you noticed anything else different in your normal day-to-day life? And as always, if you've enjoyed this narration, show it some love. It still enjoys deep sensual massages of the like button late at night.